As a tarot reader, I've picked up on so much during readings, from infidelity, financial issues, marital issues, pregnancies, you name it, I've come across it. But I've never picked up on murder. Y'all ever hear of the tarot reader who was giving a man a reading and he confessed to murder because the reading was reading? Get your popcorn. Welcome back, YouTube. And for those who do not know me and are new here, hi. My name is Noah. I'm a spiritualist. And on my channel, we talk about death, true crime, spiritual reparations, haunted people, places, and things, and how you can fuck around and find out. If you are not subscribed, I invite you to. If you're not following me on TikTok, go ahead and do that now and turn your notification bells on. On today's episode of Don't Fuck With Us Tarot Readers, because we be knowing what we talking about, we have the story of Star Randall Hansen and Jane Braden. And this case made the little tarot reader in my heart smile because a lot of people don't realize that tarot is a form of divination. And whenever spirit speaks, spirit is going to snitch. I mean, it's going to snitch. And I don't know why Star Randall Hansen didn't think that it was going to snitch on him. There has been plenty of cases that I've heard about in real life and read about where divinators are solving murder cases, missing people cases. I even have a video here on YouTube about how psychics have solved murder, missing people cases over the years. This is not new. And the cards that this man got, chef's kiss. Cards with snitching. So let's get into it. And before we even start this story, I just want to give a trigger warning. This does include some sort of sexual assault. And I just want to be sensitive to those people that cannot handle that kind of content. So if you are one of those people, we love you down. We hope for healing. We hope for light. But I would recommend that you skip this video. In May of 2016, a man walked into a tarot shop. This tarot shop was located in the Brighton seafront, and this happened in the UK, the Sussex area, if I'm not mistaken. If I am, correct me, my UK followers, because y'all here too. This storefront was owned by Jane Braden, and this shop was specifically dedicated to tarot readings. She did sell little knickknacks, crystals, and different things like that. But she was a one-woman show, and the shop was specifically to be used, exclusively to be used for just tarot readings. She had been reading for over 25 years. Let's just pause real quick. When a reader says they've been reading that long, you don't have to tell them anything, which is just what Jane requires her clients to do. Don't tell me anything. I want you to come in and just tell me your name, and we'll go from there. The man in question that went into the shop was, of course, 56-year-old Star Randall Hansen, and he seemed like a normal guy that just wanted a tarot reading. Just a quick correction, this was May of 2015, not 16. My apologies. Jane picked up her handy dandy tarot deck, and this particular deck had 52 cards in it. Now, a traditional deck, the one I use, has 72, but there are several versions of the Rider and Waite deck. So she picked out the deck that she preferred. So they start their reading, and he picks 10 cards out of this deck. And the cards that came out were a little concerning, especially since Jane was not just a tarot reader, she was also a clairvoyant. What is a clairvoyant, you ask? A clairvoyant is someone who has the ability to see supernatural things that the average person couldn't. It's almost like a medium, but there are differences. But this just means that Jane's sensories, if that's a word, were on point, meaning that she could communicate within different realms. She could see things, she can sense them. She uses all of her senses. And once she started pulling out those cards, she sensed something was terribly wrong. Out of the 10 cards that Star Hansen picked out of the deck, it was the Tower. If you read tarot, if you know, you know. The Justice card, the Emperor, the Death card, and the card that got him to confessing and talking was the Devil. Now, I could go on and on for days about the combination of these cards, but the Devil card made him crack. And I'm assuming since he is not said to be a tarot reader in any of the research that I did, it's because the devil is usually associated with Christianity or Catholicism. And if you pull the devil card and you are a spiritualist, which he was, but not me type of spiritualist or Jane type of spiritualist, then the devil card is going to send you over. But I can honestly say, as a tarot reader myself that's been reading for years, these 5 combination of cards can be problemsome. And Jane picked up on that immediately. So as soon as the devil card came out, this man, this grown man who came in and appeared to be of right mind, started sobbing, crying, just boo-hooing, y'all. And Jane then had the confirmation that she was getting that something went down with this man. And it's not for nothing that he's here crying, real tears. So, being the professional she was, she says, something happened. Tell me what's going on. Star then, in between sobs and tears, told Jane he killed him. He killed him and it was awful and he didn't mean to kill him. But who is him? In 2013, just a mere 2 years before this reading and confession, Mr. Hansen met a man named Derek Marney. The two met at a church called the Brotherhood Gate Spiritualist Church, and they hit it off. They seemed like two peas in a pod. The two quickly became friends, started attending Bible studies, hanging out, just doing what friends did. And eventually they decided to get a flat, aka an apartment together. And it is not clear if they couldn't afford 2 beds, but though they were never lovers, and Mr. Hanson was very stern on this, they were not lovers, they did share a bed. And I'm assuming it's because either 2 beds was too expensive for them or just the finances didn't allow for them to have separate beds. But all was not good in paradise, and there was a lot of strife inside of their friendship. Mr. Hansen alleged that the strife came from unwanted sexual advances by Mr. Marney. Mr. Marney was an openly gay man, which is nothing wrong with, but according to Mr. Hansen was not gay. So he was constantly sexually harassing him. And he said that Mr. Marney even sexually assaulted him twice. And while in no way I condone any type of sexual harassment, assault, he should have saw his day in court and been put away for the monster that he allegedly was. He did not need to be murdered by Mr. Hansen. So I just want to put that out there. I'm not giving either one of them a pass. But Mr. Hansen should have reported Mr. Marney to the authorities. Sometime in the beginning of May of 2015, Mr. Hansen and Mr. Marney had an argument in their flat. And the argument escalated. And according to Mr. Hansen, it was because of the unwanted sexual advances and the abuse that he had experienced at the hand of Mr. Marney. The argument kind of spilled over from the main common areas of the flat into the kitchen, and that's where Mr. Hansen stabbed Mr. Marney in the side and left a 6-inch wound. Mr. Marney succumbed to his injuries, and out of panic, Mr. Hansen just left him there. He left them there for 10 days, y'all. Can you imagine looking at your deceased flatmate, roommate for 10 days, lying on the kitchen floor, and you moving about your life like nothing ever happened? Can you imagine the smell of a decaying body, a body going through decomposition for 10 days? I'm surprised the neighbors didn't report anything because you could smell death through the walls, through the vents, and all that other stuff. According to Mr. Hansen, this heavily played on his mind, and that's why he went to go get the tarot reading in the first place. So, whenever he went in and one of the cards was the death card, justice, emperor, and all those things, and then to top it off with the devil, and these were devout men, baby, his world came crumbling down at that moment. If he didn't believe in tarot then, he definitely believed in it at that moment. Jane Braden was shocked at this man's confession. She knew something terrible had happened, but I don't think that she was thinking murder had occurred. In the true professional style of tarot readers, she kept him calm and let him know, I'm gonna have to drop a dime on you, bro. I'm gonna have to call the police. So just wait here while I call the police. Would you like anything to drink in the meantime? So she calmly called 999, which in the States is 911. And initially, everybody thought it was a hoax. And they put her on the non-emergency list of callers. It took an hour for police to show up. And she was worried he was going to skip out of there. So, like I said, she's a professional. She's like, hey, would you like something to drink? So she goes over to her neighboring shop owner and calmly just asks, hey, can I have a bottle of water? Don't ask. Let me just get a bottle of water, because she didn't sell any kind of snack items in her shop. It was a tarot shop. She only had crystals, and she wanted to get him as comfortable as possible until the police showed up. We brought the water back to him. They sat down. They had conversations about something totally different. Like, they changed the topic. She kept him calm, cool, and collected, baby. This woman was she was it. She really did her big one when it came to keeping the suspect calm, keeping him comfortable, and keeping him in her shop long enough for the police to get there, keeping the trust there, because she made it seem like, oh, it's no big deal. I'm just going to have to call the authorities. I understand whatever the case is. But she not once gave off a judgmental vibe or a vibe that, oh, you're going to be in so much trouble. She just was neutral. Police eventually arrived. I'm seeing that the UK police is kind of similar to America's policemen, and they still thought it was a hoax. I don't know who in their right mind would confess to a murder that they did not do, tell you where the body is and the murder weapon, and still be playing. But they still thought it was a hoax. That is until they went to Mr. Hansen and Mr. Marnie's flat and found Mr. Marnie deceased, and not recently deceased either. He was in an advanced stage of decomposition. All in all, Mr. Hansen went to trial and was sentenced to life with the possibility of parole after 15 years, meaning that, or in my mind, that the jury believed that there was some type of sexual abuse, trauma, unwanted sexual advances that went on and caused Mr. Hansen to snap. Or that the jury thought that this was a crime of passion, it was not premeditated, and that he deserved some slack. It just was a heat of the moment type of thing. I don't know how the UK laws go, but sometimes here in the States, that is the case. They know that this was not something that the accuser planned. Story over, right? We're done. He's in jail, whatever the case may be. Wrong. After everything was said and done, the spirit of Mr. Marnie visited Jane and thanked her for her divination and for closing out his case. Which leaves me with more questions and answers. Did Mr. Hansen regularly gets tarot card readings? I don't think he did, because that's nowhere stated in any of the research that I did on this case. And it leads me to believe that the spirit of Mr. Hansen was weighing on his thought process. He wanted his case to be solved, which also brings me to the question, was there any actual sexual harassment or sexual assault that happened? I don't know. The spiritualist in me won't make a decision, or even just can't make a decision. I'm going to go ahead and insert the clip of the news reporting of Miss Jane and how she came to solve this murder and what happened on that fateful day. And you guys be the judge of what you think, and let me know in the comments what you think this was. Because if you are a devout churchgoer, you're normally not getting this sort of divination. You usually go to your pastor, your priest, what have you. People that identify themselves as Christian or Catholics or whichever, they usually don't deal in tarot. It's usually demonic to them, necromancy, different things like that. So just watch the interview and tell me what you think.
Time we got to the devil card, he broke down and started crying. I said, we need to talk about this. Obviously, it's serious. You can tell me everything. I won't be shocked, which, I don't, I'm not used to being shocked, so it's fine. But obviously, in my head, I've pulled out 10 cards. So I was also looking at the end cards, which were the judgment, justice, and prison. So, with knowing that, obviously this was a serious problem.
I mean, you say that people have come to you before and confessed, but how did it feel when he actually confessed a crime, and such a violent crime?
It's the first time I've dealt with murder before, but not actually with the murderer in front of me, and the man that was actually confessing. So I suppose it was a shock, but you have to be professional, and showing shock wasn't going to help, and I needed to keep him calm. And so we talked, and he was happy to talk about certain things. He gave me the address where the body was, and he seemed happy enough to talk about that. I gained his trust.
Were you scared?
No.
A lot of people might be scared being face to face with someone who's just confessed to quite a violent murder.
That's true, but because of my job, I knew that he wasn't a threat to me.
Can you explain that?
Because he come to me to confess. I was the only person he felt safe enough with to confess. He came to me for help. And no, I would have known if he was feeling that way towards me.
You went to phone the police,
yes.
Jane, and you told him, didn't you, that look, I'm going to go and phone the police now?
No, I asked him.
Right.
If he'd have said no, then the whole thing would have been different, because obviously I didn't want to upset him. So I would have had to have contacted the police afterwards. But the fact he said, yes, that's okay, then I popped outside of my shop. Obviously, it's a bank holiday Monday on the seafront, as you can imagine. There's lots of people around, lots of children.
All in all, I truly believe that Jane Braden was an amazing, brave lady and an amazing tarot reader and clairvoyant. Not many of us could say that we kept a murderer at bay and in the same spot so that the police could come and arrest him. That just doesn't happen every day. This case also led me to let you guys know that tarot is very real. A lot of my clients, past and present, watch my YouTube videos. I have regulars because spirit never lies, baby. Like I said in the beginning of this video, tarot is a form of divination. You are speaking with ancestors, spirit guides, and the Most High. If you are not ready for the truth, then by all means, don't book. Don't book with me or anybody else, because we will hurt your feelings unintentionally. We are just speaking for spirits. That is all for today, YouTube. And if you have a story you'd like me to cover, please email me. I have a long laundry list of stories I haven't even gotten to. And if you want to tell me your creepy story, call me on Fridays at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on my YouTube page. I will be live. Y'all do good, be good, and stay safe.